The Atlanta Braves are set to take on the
in game 2 of their series. Here's your 10-minute scouting report for today's game. Yes, this is your Braves Today Scouting Report, a production of the Belief Podcast Network and presented to you by FanDuel. I'm Lindsey Crosby. In the next 10 minutes, we're breaking down everything you need to know before first pitch. Today, it's the Braves and the Nationals in the middle game of the series, so let's get into it. Both teams have put out their lineup for the day. For the Atlanta Braves, it is a City Connect Saturday, so grab your baby blues if you got them. Lineup is Ronald Acuna Jr. leading off in right field, followed by Michael Harris II, moving up to the number 2 spot in the order. Matt Olson playing first base, batting third. Ozzie Albies continuing as the cleanup hitter, batting fourth, because he can break up the group you have of Matt Olson and DH Dominic Smith, lefty hitter, batting fifth. Austin Riley at third base is batting sixth, followed by a start at shortstop for Mauricio Dubon, batting seventh. Mike Yastrzemski in left field, batting eighth. And Chadwick Tromp being rewarded for being the hero last night with a start behind the plate, batting ninth. Acuna, Harris, Olson, Albies, Smith, Riley, Dubon, Yastrzemski, and Tromp. You do have a 2-lefty lane of Harris and Olson at 2 and 3. We saw them do this with Baldwin and Olson. They're not too concerned about it. You do have a 2-righty lane of Riley and Dubon at 6 and 7, but plenty of guys to break that up. Starting for the Braves is Grant Holmes, 3-1 with a 3.80 ERA on the season. The ERA estimators are a little bit above where he actually is. 4.14 expected ERA, 4.81 fielding independent pitching. And when you see the expected ERA and fielding independent pitching be different like that, it's typically something where he's allowing walks, which he is, 10.9% walk rate this year, but he's not allowing incredibly hard contact. So yes, he's putting runners on. Yes, he's letting balls get put into play, but they're not as hard. Expected ERA can pick up the exit velocities on those hits. Fielding independent pitching cannot. So kind of a little explanation there as to maybe why that looks different. When you look at the Nationals lineup, nobody has more than 4 at-bats or 1 hit off of Grant Holmes, but one of the guys with a hit is James Wood, who's 1 for 3 with a home run. When you look at the Nationals lineup for today, James Wood is leading off in right field, followed by Luis Garcia Jr. at first base, DH Jose Tena batting third, shortstop CJ Abrams hitting cleanup. All 4 of those guys are lefties. So a 4-lefty lane, but I would imagine Jose Tena is a candidate to be pinch hit for later in the game to break up that 4-lefty lane. Center fielder Dylan Cruz, who made that awesome throw last night to try to catch Chadwick Tromp, is batting fifth. Dalen Lyle in left field batting sixth. He's been really impressive so far in the series. Second baseman Nasim Nunez, a switch hitter, batting seventh. Third baseman Yorbit Vivas checks in, batting eighth. And catcher Keibert Ruiz, a switch hitter, batting ninth. So Wood, Garcia, Tena, Abrams, Cruz, and Lyle, Nunez, Vivas, and Ruiz. Starter for the Nationals today is right-hand pitcher Jake Ivin, 1-4 with a 5.79 ERA. Little bit of bad luck, but for the most part, kind of where he should be. 5.61 expected ERA. I will say 4.60 fielded independent pitching. It's catching something that expected ERA and actual ERA is not catching. 24% strikeout rate, 9.9% walk rate. He has, depending on where you look, he has either a 6 or a 7 pitch mix. Some places combine the sweeper and the slider as one pitch. Some places break them out as separate pitches. I honestly can't tell if he's trying to throw 2 separate pitches or if he has a sweeper that the shape sometimes mutates into a slider shape. or I'm sorry, a slider that's a baby sweeper versus an actual sweeper. Like, I can't really tell if this is intentional or not. The league has it as just a sweeper. There are other external sources of who use the league's data who put this as a slider and a sweeper differently, but just not sure what he's trying to do there. He is not rated really well on StatCast for virtually anything. His changeup is okay. A lot of that's just lack of exposure. He throws it 4% of the time, so it has not been used enough to accumulate a lot of negative run value. It's not that it is a good pitch. It's that he just doesn't really use it. And so because of that, it's hard to argue that his changeup is actually a strength. He's thrown 39 of them on the entire season. And again, guys haven't performed against it, 143 average, but he just hasn't really given it an opportunity to see what happens. When you look at, the one thing to know about here, 97th percentile in extension at 7.3 feet of extension. So when you see that he leads with a 92.7 mile an hour fastball, know that it is playing up from a velocity perspective, and it doesn't feel like it's 93 to the hitter because of that exceptional extension. Just something to be aware of there. When you look at how he attacks hitters, starting with lefties, it is a kitchen sink mix. He is throwing, again, 6 or 7 pitches, depending on where you get your data. And he does ramp up his cutter usage somewhat early in the count and then backs off of it when he gets to 2 strikes. When he is ahead in the count, he is throwing less sinkers, which is a common expected adjustment, versus when he's behind, that's when he ramps up the sinker usage. And then with 2 strikes, his goal for strikeouts against lefties or put away pitches is to ramp up 4-seamer and curveball usage. Again, it's not a great 4-seamer on the metrics, but the velocity does play up from where it sits. Really kind of an interesting mix there. When you look at what he does against righties, it is a lot of sinkers. 50% usage early in the count. He ramps it up to over 60% when he's behind in the count. But even when he has less than 2 strikes, he's still throwing it 50% of the time. When he gets to 2 strikes, he cuts the sinker usage in half, ramps up the 4-seamer, which is also an adjustment he makes when he's ahead. Everything else is just kind of sprinkled in there a little bit, right? Throwing 8% sliders, 8% cutters, 5% sweepers, just kind of throwing things in there randomly, but it's really a sinker 4-seamer mix with, curveballs to right-handed hitters. A little bit of a simpler pitch mix to adjust to than what a lefty has to deal with. There is a strong likelihood if you're a lefty, you're going to get a first pitch strike. He's really good at throwing first pitch strikes to lefties. To righties, he's still good at it, but not as good as he is to lefties, right? You have to be a little more careful if you're a righty about, is this first pitch going to be a strike or not? When you look at these, let's go back real quick. Matt Olson, 222 average and 18 at-bats against Jake Ivin. But when he gets one, he gets all of it. He has 2 home runs against Ivin and 18 at-bats. When these teams played back in April, Matt Olson hit a 2-run shot. Something to keep in mind there. When you get to the bullpens, several of Atlanta's arms are very fresh. Ronaldo Lopez, Carlos Carrasco, neither one of those guys has pitched in at least 5, in the last 5 days, to the point where they fall off of the usage graphic that we have for bullpen usage. Everybody else has pitched in the last 2 days, though. Tyler Kinley, Rizal Iglesias, 11 and 10 pitches last night. They can come back today. Dylan Dodd, 13 pitches on Thursday. He can come back today. The 3 that I'm not sure about, Robert Suarez is off a back-to-back at 31 pitches. Dylan Lee's off a back-to-back at 28 total pitches. I would imagine both of them are down if the team can help it, but they may have to call on one of those if this game goes to extras again. Didier Fuentes pitched 1 inning yesterday, but took 27 pitches because he had a very long at-bat there. I would imagine, even though they recently popped the seal on the back-to-back for Didier Fuentes, I would imagine they're going to try to stay away from him today if at all possible, especially with it being an earlier game in the day. So you've got a closer. You've got two longmen. Ronaldo Lopez does have good velocity. His velocity's returned here. He does have leverage experience. You can bring Kinley back. You do have a lefty in Dylan Dodd, although he has reverse splits. I would imagine Atlanta feels okay about their bullpen as long as this game doesn't go 11 innings. When you look at the Nationals bullpen, yikes. It's the first thing that comes to mind. Brad Lord hasn't thrown since Tuesday. He threw 40 pitches that day. He's had 3 days off, and that's good because everybody else has been used. Now, a couple of these guys can come back. Lefty Richard Lovelady was the opener yesterday. He threw 12 pitches. Middle reliever Paxton Schultz threw 14 yesterday. Closer, one of the closers, Gus Varland, threw 12 yesterday. I would imagine those 3 guys can come back today. But Orlando Ribalta, back-to-back, 47 combined pitches. He should be down today. Clayton Beeter, his first 2 games back from the injured list. He pitched a back-to-back, 37 combined pitches. I would imagine he is down today as well. Andrew Alvarez is the real question for me. 56 pitches on Wednesday. A lot of managers like to give a guy a 3rd day off. But you got to figure out, Mitchell Parker threw 31 yesterday. He's one of the lefties. If he is down, do you ask Alvarez to come back if you need a second lefty in this game after Richard Lovelady? Or is the goal to throw Lovelady as your lefty out of the pen, and then Alvarez is up for tomorrow? Kind of curious to see what they do here. I'm sure Washington would love a long start out of Irvin and some some low leverage relief innings here. Irvin did give them 5 innings of 4-run ball against the Braves back in April. 3 of those were earned. I'm really curious to see how the Braves do in the rematch. I'm also curious, which version of Grant Holmes do you see today, right? We've had some recent starts from Grant Holmes where the last one, he looked really good. We've had some that are short outings and just didn't go that well. But today's game, today's game is at 4:10 p.m. Eastern. I don't think I got the right time on the graphic here, but 4:10 p.m. Eastern. So stay tuned for that. That is your scouting report. If you want the deeper analysis, the lineup breakdowns, everything behind the numbers, make sure you're subscribed to Braves Today. Enjoy the game. We'll be back after it with the postcast over on Locked On Sports Atlanta. And today's 3 things, our game recap over at bravestoday.com.